This is USA Takedown. The best guests, all the hot news and predictions on the combat sports of wrestling and MMA with your hosts, the true Americans, Scott Casper and Zach Bogle. Connect with them now on social media and check out usatakedown.com. Now, it's time for USA Takedown.
Hello again, everybody. It is USA Takedown. We cover wrestling and MMA. Scott Casper, Zach Bogle back in his chair where he belongs. He took last week off to tie the knot with a very, very beautiful young lady. Her name?
It's now Alexis Bogle. Yeah, last time you asked me that, it was
Mrs.
different.
Bogle.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, congratulations to you and yours from all of us,
Thank
man.
you, Scott. Thank you.
And
It feels good to be back, though.
The pictures on Facebook are myriad.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Kodak ran out of film. I don't even know. They still use film, some people, maybe?
No way.
No way. Anyway, are you still registered for those out there that want to get you gifts?
You know what? I think we're running out of space, but you have to talk to my wife about that one.
Yeah, well, anyway, I'm glad that you guys had a great time. It was evidenced by the pictures. Welcome back. We missed you. And because we had a great show while you were gone, I thought we better even top it more so with your return. So you want to tell everybody who's on the show?
Yes, absolutely, Scott. We have Bobby Telford from the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, North Carolina assistant head coach Tony Ramos, Buffalo head coach John Stutzman, Hawkeye bound Drake Ayala, Rutgers superstar Nick Soriano. And to start off the top of the hour, Scott, who do we have?
He is the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, Thomas Ryan. Tommy, how are you? Good morning, sir.
I'm doing well. Congratulations, Scott, on the wedding.
How about that? Yeah.
Thank you.
I told him, I said, if you're going to do it right. Evidenced you, sir, by having a exceedingly happy marriage. You're well-publicized and promoting marriage as an institution, and I champion that myself. So, Tom, it hasn't been that long since you were on the show last, but since you were on the show last, you've written and released a book. How long was the process of writing this book, Chosen Suffering?
Well, I mean, it's probably a couple of years, but obviously, it's writing a book is a lot more challenging than I thought it was going to be, and it was really the constant nudging of a couple of close friends and some alumni and some people that heard me speak and share my story. So, books can be perceived as very self-serving. At least that's how I felt. So I had to get over the stigma of that and really make it about, the impact that I hoped that Teague's life would have through the writing of the book on people. So a couple of years, but ultimately, right, a lifetime of stories, right, reflecting on the stories that maybe some people could relate to that might inspire them to push on in their life.
There's been, and it's not a sea change, Tom. This is not a knock on you, but what I've seen is a coach, dare I say an athlete to coach and then coach and teacher of young coaches. There's been a sea change, if you will, in the person that is Tom Ryan. Where does that come from, that change in the person that is now one of the great leaders of our sport?
I would probably say the biggest change or transformation was just being stripped through deep pain of the things that were priceless to me, right? And priceless by definition is so precious, its value can't be determined. And for so long, it wasn't the wrong things, but I really didn't give that deep thought. But as you know, and anyone knows that's been through something that strips us of everything that we thought we were guaranteed and know to be true, you come to a place of refining and refinement. And I think that, the tragedy in my life did that for me, right? Far more than the loss of the national finals did, or the heartbreak of my 2018 team not winning it, there's something that can strip us far deeper than winning and losing wrestling matches.
And the loss of your son as well. That when your son died, okay, and it was was it deemed a congenital heart defect?
Right now, the Ross Heart Hospital, Ohio State, there's 1 million mice with our DNA in it, and they found a gene that is needed in a child until about the age of 12 that he may have been missing. So ultimately, it would be a genetic defect that caused this protein to not be available to make the heart function properly when under excitement or duress, and they're thinking that it might be tied to SIDS. So this whole story gets deeper, and it's all being uncovered now. Mm-hmm. When Teague died, there were 3 known genes that caused. He died February 16, 2004. There were 3 known genes. At this time, according to our genetic specialists at Ohio State, who I've become very close to and good friends with, there's now 16 genes.
Wow.
Science, right? Science moves on, and we find, obviously we hope that someday, right, at the birth of a child, you can do a DNA check on them and determine whether or not they've got any of these potential issues. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty amazing and fascinating how there's been great value in his DNA.
In the process of our developing friendship, even back then when at Hofstra as the head coach then, mm-hmm. and the loss of Teague, I began to get to know you differently, and that was the admiration that developed by me for you and how you dealt with both personally and publicly the loss of your son. And it was just if I recall, a simple game of catch football in the front yard, and all of a sudden he wasn't playing any longer. And it literally broke my heart. But what I got out of that was you were suffering, but it was how you chose to deal with the suffering. And I thought, this is, I think, one of the reasons why you are so very successful as a coach. The title of your book, Chosen Suffering, Becoming Elite in Life and Leadership, I think is so apropos.
Well, yeah, thanks, Scott. And it was February 16, 2004, and what happened was he had basically passed out at the dinner table. Mm. So we were having a conversation. He was chosen to shower first, got up from the dinner table. I have 2 older sons, an 11-year-old Jordan, my son Jordan was 11 at the time, and Jake was 8, Teague was 5, and Mackie was 3, my daughter was 3. And they were all there and witnessed it all. So, we all deal with pains in this life, whether it's a father that drank too much, or a mother that left us, or a myriad of things that cause life to be difficult. And for me, in this scenario, right, a lot of people, when they're under this type of heartache and duress, unchosen suffering, as I call this, they run, right, and they leave their responsibilities behind. And it was not an option, right? Initially, there was a lot of suffering, and it's very easy to see why we want to hide our sufferings, and we hide them with addictions and all sorts of things because they're very hard to deal with. Mm-hmm. But for me, the 3 children that were alive, and you probably know this, right, that many marriages break up and many children go on to live parentless because their parents are so caught in their deep grief that they stop parenting the rest of their children. That wasn't going to be me, but I would say that without question, and this isn't about anything more than my experience, but without question, God lifted me. I have no other explanation for it than the reality that I was lifted by a loving God, and that ultimately was there for me and my family and many others.
That's the grace of God. And you talk about that in the book. As a matter of fact, one of the descriptors and I will just read it word for word, verbatim, if I may. In this raw and relatable book, the reader, you'll learn how to deal with the death of a dream that can lead you straight into the grace of God. You share the lessons that secured his university, in this case, Ohio State's first ever NCAA national championship. A lot of other things to discover in the book, but and you and I have talked to a degree about this, okay, and how you deal with defeats and how you, and I think even more importantly, how you deal with success. Because it can be, and is Gable perhaps the best teacher of this? I'm not sure. You've been there firsthand. You've been there right there when part of those, championship teams and efforts, whether it was Big Ten at the time or on to NCAA greatness. Was he a good teacher of this?
I think the one thing that, people ask me, what did I take from Gable and what did I learn from Gable? And the reality is there are just so many things that he exemplified that were worthy of taking. But as I look back as a 51-year-old, right, and not as a 20-year-old in his program, I look back, I've got the gift of, right, two lenses. I would say that knowing how he was, he carried himself as a man who had suffered.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and not in a. It was never ever. Suffering doesn't mean I'm mopey and I'm feeling bad for myself, right? Because the last thing that I want to be is a guy who lost a son that people grant favor on because I did, right? That's the opposite of what I want, right? And that was the opposite of what Coach Gable on going through the loss of his sister. And of course, we know the deep, intense training where he chose duress over being comfortable. So I think looking back at Coach Gable. He suffered.
Mm-hmm.
He suffered. And his suffering was exactly what led me toward him, leaving a full scholarship at Syracuse and choosing to walk on and wrestle for him. I didn't quite understand it at the time. At the time, it was that this guy's a master, right? This guy's producing Olympic champions and world champions and national champions. So the only way to understand how to do that is to be around someone who's doing it. And the power of environment and the power of people, the right people in our lives. And but now looking back, it's like, yeah, this guy was the ultimate sufferer. He dealt with pains that refined him and gave him a very clear vision that I wanted to follow.
Dealing with his father's alcoholism, the death of the murder, I should say, of his sister, it wasn't necessarily the best told story in the world of sport or in the news, but it was there. Were you aware of the suffering that Coach Gable had gone through, in particular those two things that I mentioned?
I knew about his sister,
mm-hmm.
but Coach is quiet. Coach was, Coach, he didn't talk about that. Right now, for whatever reason, maybe he didn't want to burden us with that, and it's something that I've weighed, right, which is why writing this book was not easy, is because it's like, do you want to burden people with that emotional response? But for me, I felt that the story of Teague's life could inspire others, and it's amazing how many emails I get, right, and DMs I get of people that, your story resonated with me. I lost my brother. I lost my daughter. I lost my son. So I didn't know his whole story, but I do. But knowing his story now, I can see why his personality is the way it is.
Right.
Coach Gable has amazing emotional control. His tongue was never a weapon, right? He never attacked his wrestlers verbally, right? But so he just has great emotional control. And now, at least this is my assessment of it. I haven't asked him this, but my assessment is when you're in a house where there's disarray, right? You got a father who's suffering over what happened to his daughter, right? And you're in this home, and I could be talking about anybody, right? Not just Coach Gable, that learns how to find peace in the midst of chaos, right? And Gable did that on the mat as a wrestler. He did that as a coach. He did that as a son, I'm sure, in that home. but he learned things that actually became incredible gifts that have, that moved his life in a way that, few have seen. So, I think that's one of the takeaways from Gable, and, knowing the environment he was in, is you've got to learn to stabilize. You've got to have something that stabilizes you when things are going wild all around you. And, I would say that's something that he probably learned, in the tough things he witnessed and felt as a young person.
Coach, let's talk about emotional control a little bit. Is that something that you could try to preach to your younger athletes?
Yeah, I mean, emotional control is one of the non-negotiables of being elite. Every person I've coached, every leader that I know, we don't make decisions on a whim. We don't make decisions when we're down or up too high, right? We're never as good as our best day or as bad as our worst day, And emotional control, when Logan Stieber was going for his second national title against Ramos, who by the way, I love Ramos. He's a great coach, and he's going to be a great leader, and is. And I think I heard you say, I think he's on the show.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Did I hear that? Yeah. So he's just doing a really good job at UNC. He takes initiative, which is another elite trait. He's a problem solver. But when Stieber was wrestling Ramos, and Ramos, there was a questionable reversal / back points. Mm-hmm. So it would have made them out. Logan was had a comfortable lead, but that would have narrowed the margin greatly. So after the match, I asked Logan, tell me what you were thinking when the officials were reviewing the call. And Logan said in his constant, very calm voice, well, I did the math, and it came out to be the call went his way. I was up by 1. It was time to wrestle. Like, no panic, no fear, but a focus on the love he had for the sport and what was needed to do to continue to move forward. So anyway, the short answer is, I think emotional control is incredibly important for us.
Our guest on the Defense Soap Newsmaker Hotline is the head coach of Ohio State Buckeyes. We're talking with Tom Ryan, the author now of the new book, and it would be great if you folks got online, whether it's to Amazon or Barnes & Noble or wherever it is you buy your books. It's available on Kindle as well. But I'm going to recommend this book for gift giving because it can give so much. And the intention is that of being raw, being informative, and hopefully you'll be able to embrace the idea what it means to be a part of this group of elite. And to be elite is to suffer. There is suffering of all kinds in all decisions you make. And I know Lynette, who's been by your side and part of Team Ryan, along with the balance of your family, but I got to believe she's been very supportive of this whole effort.
Oh, she's amazing. I mean, we went through a lot. As a couple, I wish I could say that, from the moment we lost Teague to now, things were, on a linear path, but they weren't. When one thing I've noticed in situations, obviously a lot of marriages end over things like this. And a lot of it's just because you can't deal with the grief, or when you're grieving, you don't want them to feel the pain you're feeling, so you stop communicating.
Yeah.
But she's a rock. She's a really strong woman. And I wanted to mention, Scott, that if anybody has someone that has been through something, I can sign the book and put a note to someone if they order it through chosensuffering.com. It's on Amazon. It's on Kindle. But they go to the website, Chosen Suffering. There's a place they can put a note in there. Hey, so-and-so experienced this. Would you mind writing a personal note to him? So they can get it personalized on chosensuffering.com. And I've used that to kind of connect with people that have maybe a similar story, have been through something.
I can't say it about everybody, Tom, but I think, and perhaps I've said this to you before, but I will always, in my estimation of you, continues to grow. And this is not just an ending praise. This is an ongoing praise. The growth I've seen in you, from athlete to coach, teacher, mentor, husband, family member has been remarkable. That which you've helped your sister with, her family and her struggles, has been remarkable, and I admire the heck out of you. I'm super grateful that you chose to write this book, Chosen Suffering, Becoming Elite in Life and Leadership. It's a tremendous effort. I do appreciate that, and hats off to Kirsten Samuel as well. I thought she was remarkable in her ability to boil things down. And what a great effort by you. I hope there's a book, too, coming out at some point, because cathartic in its very nature in writing books is one benefit, but to be able to pass it on in such a way where you can actually teach, I think is tremendous. Tom, up against the clock again, chosensuffering.com, a personalized note if requested. And what a great gift that would be for the coming holidays. Tom, thank you so much for the time today.
Thanks for having me on, Scott. Appreciate it.
Always. Chosen Suffering, Becoming Elite in Life and Leadership. He's been our guest on the Defense Soap Newsmaker Hotline as we come to you live from the Wild Rose Casino Studios. This is USA Takedown with the True Americans, Scott Casper and Zach Bogle, only on Iowa Sports Leader, 1350 ESPN.
USA Takedown is brought to you by Barbarian Apparel and Caldenberg's PBS Landscaping. Stay tuned. More USA Takedown after this short timeout.
The Defense Soap Facts. Dateline, Cleveland, Ohio. For 12 years, he competed. For 17 years, he coached. And for 30 years, he's policed the streets of Cleveland. He saw teams and programs decimated by skin-borne disease, a wrestler's worst nightmare. He didn't like the chemical-based products on the market and knew that there had to be a better way. A better defense. He found religion in the ingredients that make up the basis for Defense Soap. Tea tree and eucalyptus oil. Defense Soap. All natural, safe to use. It's available around the world now at defensesoap.com.
Hi, it's Danny Bishop. Today's economy presents certain challenges, and along with those come opportunities. The potential rewards are for those who are adept at identifying long-term trends. Don Boyd and his team of financial advisors at 5 Talents Financial Management Group can help you navigate today's economy. Whether you're facing retirement or just looking to better understand certain investment ideas, they can help you. 5 Talents Financial Management Group's first priority is your overall financial success. And that's why they learn about your individual situation, identify your dreams and goals, and get a picture of your tolerance for risk. Long-term relationships that encourage open and honest communication are the cornerstone of their foundation of success. FTFMG.com or call 223-7487, 223-7487, 5 Talents Financial Management Group.
Calderberg's PBS Landscaping knows what grows best in Iowa because they're from Iowa. Locally owned and operated, Calderberg's is a full-service landscaping and lawn care company. Everything you need from lawn care and landscape design to water features, tree planting, irrigation, and snow removal. Matt Calderberg and his staff are great. They take care of my family year-round. They can take care of yours, too. My office and home, they cover it all. They're my friends and should be yours as well. Visit them at calderberglandscaping.com.
All right, welcome back to the big show. It is USA Takedown, coast to coast, border to border, and all those ships at sea. Look for us online at usatakedown.com. Danny Bishop now firmly at the helm of the websites that are RC Media. Yeah,
it's firmly, but I do have a grasp.
What are you going to do? Hey, great conversation with Ohio State's head coach Tom Ryan. That book, Chosen Suffering, great gift opportunity for you and yours. Whether you're a fan of wrestling, it doesn't matter. It's called A Fan of Life, all right? And a young man that absolutely is the epitome of a life well lived, not afraid to make decisions, not afraid to make changes in his life to better his impact on our sport and the sport's impact on him as our next guest. He's out west. I think he's in the mountains right now, but he is the Rutgers star with yet 1 year of eligibility left in the career that will never end. Nick Siriano joins us. Nicky boy, how are you, bud?
I really appreciate the introduction, and being invited to your show. I'm doing really well.
Well, I know you don't like to do these interviews, but we have a lot of friends in common, and I think they told you, hey, you can trust Casper.
For sure.
All right, buddy.
For sure.
Well, welcome to the show, first time guest. So
great to be on.
Let's face it, you won the 2019 National Crown, and then COVID hits, and 2020 doesn't really end, as it were. But redshirt years as they are, and then COVID, NCAA, Big Ten, everybody is extending out one more year. What was there a breath of a sigh of relief there that you were going to be able to complete it on your terms? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, honestly, I had just gotten back from Moscow, Russia. I took a trip to Italy, Russia, got to train with their Olympic team out there. I was preparing for the Olympic trials at Penn State in April, and I was about a month out. Everything was going right, and I was peaking, and COVID hit, and pretty much from then, my life completely changed. Kind of, I'd say. I wasn't on the mat as much. I did lots of reflection. I focused on healing. Healing past injuries, traumas, the whole thing, getting my mind, body, and spirit right. Especially my knee. That was something that was holding me back even when I won the NCAA title. And it was a sigh of relief in terms of my health and my mindset and just where I was headed, where my life was going. And now, like you said, being in the mountains, not so much, but I'm out here just for a training trip and training with the Sun Kiss squad. And they have the most Olympic champions out of any RTC or whatever you want to call it.
Right. And that's pretty cool that to be invited, but when you show up, you're also bringing an asset to the training regimen for everybody else. At 25 pounds, man, you bring it. You're constantly in motion. I have so much respect for your father being able to raise you as he did. Bobby's got it going on in my book.
Absolutely. I mean, for sure. Well, my father is someone, he's been in my corner, obviously, since I was born. But, throughout the journey, it's been an agreement and a team effort between me and him. I'll die fighting out there for him. That's just the way I look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I know those are big words and all, but I mean it, and I think this time around, it's I actually get to enjoy the craft and art of wrestling more than ever in my life. My mind and body are healed more. I have more time. Like, everything is fallen, it seems, for me to be falling in place. And like you said, there still is a redshirt year for the university with COVID and all that. I have a regular redshirt, and there's the Olympic redshirt. So, I'm personally just gearing up and using all my resources to be the best I can be and attain the ultimate goal.
That's it. And it's not just national titles. It's Olympic gold. It's world championships. It's both. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole schedule right there. I'm exhausted thinking about it.
I got one, like you stated earlier, and that's great. But, through COVID, I saw things over and started to align with certain people, and I just did some soul searching and whatever they want to call it. But I got in tune with what I really wanted. And, I think that's something that, I'm definitely coming for, and I'm excited for. I'm excited for Penn State, the trials, and that's big for me. That's real big for me, and as a person, as just me and my story. And if it plays out the way I'm preparing for it to, it can be can change my life, my family's, and I think a lot of people in wrestling, but one day at a time.
My co-host has been itching to talk to you. And dare I say, he'd probably want to get you on his Stalemates YouTube show.
Yeah, we love Jersey. We love Jersey on my show. I've had Anthony Ashnault on and Pat Mineo on, so we'd love to have you on. But Nick, I want to know, a report came out that you're going down to 25 this upcoming college season. Was that report correct?
I don't know if it's correct. I mean, okay. I think that honestly, if it's correct, I would say no, because it's not correct because nothing is set in stone yet. there hasn't even been a season guaranteed yet in that sense. And I'm the returning 133-pound national champ.
That's right. That's right, man. What's it like to have the killers, though, at that lineup at Rutgers nowadays? You got Sebastian Rivera, and then you have Sammy Alvarez as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, having those guys around. I've been away, but I've been in there when they all were in there. We've got to train. I think that's big for Rutgers. I mean, I think Rutgers needs that, especially this year, coming off of what happened last year a little bit. That big rise that took place at the NCAAs, you know, and then last season. So it's always peaks and valleys, and I think it's big. I think it's big for Rutgers wrestling for sure.
And I hear that Frankie Yeager's in the room from time to time, right?
Yeah, Frankie comes through. I mean, I've gotten to roll with him. It was about a couple years back, but he's in there. He's a part of that culture. So
I remember I could take him down at the drop of a hat,
yeah.
And then I'd wake up and he'd still win. So
you'd be in the middle of a dream, Scott.
It's not more of a nightmare for me. Let's face it.
Yeah,
I love me some Frankie Yeager. And it's that whole
Frankie
attitude.
Yeager is a savage. I mean, come on, he's a legend.
Isn't it the whole attitude though of the Scarlet Knights? I think it's all super positive,
I
right?
think the whole Jersey toughness thing is, I guess it's a thing. I mean, it's a cultural, you know, it is what it is. I think there's a lot of talent that's come from New Jersey, and I'm happy to represent my ability there and achieve what my goal was to be the national champ and all that. But you got people like Frank Molinaro and Jordan Burroughs and tons of different names that are from New Jersey and tons of talent, whether it's wrestling, whether it's business, entertainment. I mean, Jersey has tons of notoriety and history, and that'll always be my home.
You're viewed by many out there, especially the younger generation, those that are following in your steps, right? You're viewed as somewhat of a hero. Do you feel pressure from that kind of status? I mean, obviously, your father's raised a well-grounded young man. You're well coached by Scotty Goodell and company. Now, if you think about it, one thing they want you to do is be your very, very, very best without the attitude, right?
For sure, yeah. Well, that's cool of you to say hero, because it's a tough quest to live up to that. And I don't perceive it like that, but I think my story has aligned and unfolded that way. And I think I'm just an example of, is it a hero, or is it someone that just truly takes life in his own hands and was, blessed to have the right people around me, and formulated a team kind of on my own with my father, and just started to figure things out and know what I wanted and know how, and found a way to break through those stigmas that were holding me back. And once the vision is clear, once I learned to start seeing clearly and just totally believing in what I'm believing in my beliefs and my abilities and my goals, I think the rest of the story unfolds. And it's a beautiful thing once you can, when I was younger, I used to force it, always push it and try to will it through. And that's a part of it. But, with experience and time, you start to learn that, it's already written, and you just got to go walk it.
And part of that is the faith that successful athletes, in particular, we're talking wrestlers or MMA stars, the successful ones understand, and Terry Brands, I think, said it best. He realized at a certain point in his life that it was beyond physical endeavor. It had to be spiritual. There has to be a spiritual component to the desire to be the best. You live out what you just said, what has already been planned. How you do it, therein lies, that personal touch. I get that. And I'm sure our listeners do too. But the idea that if you miss that one thing, that one building block in your desire to build a successful career, you'll probably, most likely, fall short. You may get there by accident, okay? But if you have all of those things in line and juggling everything and have it make sense, therein lies the challenge.
For sure. It's truly a vision quest, It's just like, that's what it is. And, I'm on a vision quest, and I'm sure all young wrestlers around the country have their own. But
last
one
week,
thing I know
that's
for
your
sure
buddy. That's your buddy. Frank Jasper is your buddy. He was on the show
correct.
last week from Vision
That's
Quest.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually didn't hear the episode. I'd love to tune in and listen to it.
It was so good. It was so good.
It'll be man. He knows what he's doing for sure. But yeah, so that's the thing. Everything is, this is just the story of my vision quest and what it's going to amount to and what it can amount to. And I think everybody has their own quest and their own story,
right,
and their own reasons and whys and things that get in the way. But
I don't think Modine was the hero in that movie at all. I think it was Jasper. I do.
Sure.
And he's still giving. He's giving through nutritional advice and what it means to be physically fit, emotionally straight. I mean, getting right with oneself.
I like that.
Being realistic, right?
Straight.
Yeah, go ahead, use it. Put it on your next T-shirt, and just put S. Casper. You don't even need to use the full first name.
There you go. And it's funny you were saying about spiritually grounded, being raised the way I was or whatever. And it's like, that's all part of the whole thing, And I had to learn that later in my career. I think I always had that intuition inside. And just like the young wrestlers that I grew up around. But, there comes a time where you have to really figure out, like, your whys. And I did, especially this past 6 months. I wasn't on the map as much. I actually was off the map for 6 months. I really had to figure things out, and because I believed in myself and my abilities, and I believed in my story, and I understood the ups and downs that I went through, and I had to accept some of the traumas and the pain, the suffering, the hard stuff, the stuff that sucks. I had to accept that,
There are certain individuals that walk through their collegiate career untouched, like Cale Sanderson did. You walked through your undergrad, or if you will, the time you spent at Bergen Catholic. Look at that career there, 159-0.
Yeah, it's funny.
That's amazing.
Yeah, appreciate that. And funny, that was Cale's college record, and he was, my coach at Penn State. And, I'll never forget that. Cale, I learned a lot from Cale. And,
sure.
I just had to go another way.
Mm-hmm.
And it was my way. It was just the way my story, it's everything we're talking about. And it's going to be really cool to be able to compete at Bryce Jordan Center again. I wrestled Darian Cruz there. Great competitor. I got to train with him a lot, too. He was my first matchup at BJC and my only. And I had a great result. The environment, everything was great. It's just the timing, at the end of that journey wasn't, and I had to go my own way. There's parables, there's a lot of all starting to unfold for me, and I never try not to forget my story and my background and everything that led me up to this point.
Final question goes to Zach Bogle. Zach, coming fresh off of a wedding. Nick Suriano obviously is one of those guys that we want to hear from because we want to inspire America's youth and those that are wrestling in and around his weight. There's got to be a secret here, and I think we've discovered some of it, and that is spirituality, right? So go ahead.
Yeah, Nick, will we ever see you in the octagon someday?
Ooh.
Hey, what's up, man? Listen, growing up, that's all I wanted to do was win the Olympics and fight, but I don't know. My interests are kind of varying. I'm really into acting, and I want to win that gold medal.
Okay, all right.
But Octagon is obviously blooming. I don't know. I can't say I'm gonna fight, but if I fight, it's gonna be I'm gonna give everything I got and fight with every piece of my soul. So
the new Triple C.
I don't know.
The new Triple C.
The new Triple C. Oh yeah. Yeah, I got the. Yeah, that's. We'll see.
All right.
Cejudo said he'll wait for you.
But yeah, I'm open to things. I'm open to opportunities and meeting new people, and I want to just, end up where I'm supposed to end up. So,
given that you don't do many interviews, if many at all, or any at all, what would you like to say to your supporters and the fans of the Scarlet Knights wrestling program at Rutgers?
Yeah, I appreciate that. just I'll probably be back on social media at some point, and I think people will be hearing the name and the sport, fairly soon. I've been away. I've had to get things in line, get things in check. But, as they say, I've arrived, I've arrived now. And it's my time to give it all I got.
It's called the Garden State Gut Check.
Yeah.
That's what it is, baby. Use that one on a T-shirt, too. Garden State Gut Check.
Got to start making those for sure. But, and that's the thing. So I'm on Instagram. People, I'm sure it's Nick_Siriano, but I haven't used it in a while. And but I'll be back. And I appreciate the support, truly, from all the people that look up to me. Even out here in Arizona, there's some people that I ran into that, asked for a picture or something like that.
Sure.
And it's amazing. It keeps me grounded. It keeps me in tune with why, I'm here, and it's a part of it. It's a part of the journey. So,
hey, do me a favor on either. I think you can instant message me. Send me a pic of you and your dad, would you? I want to put that up.
Yeah. When would you want that?
Anytime soon.
Look.
And it doesn't have to be right away, but I just know how close you guys are, and I really want to champion that. I think it's a terrific thing. Nick, up against the clock, the Defense Soap Newsmaker hotline's been blown up this morning. We appreciate you joining us, and we hope to talk to you again soon. We're firmly in your corner, as are so many of our mutual friends. I really appreciate them, guys like Frank Jasper and
Well, I appreciate you for giving me time to, share my message. And, it's about the sport. It's about, we're all connected.
Amen.
The wrestling community. And I thank you for giving me a platform to just share a little of who I am.
Gotta love you, brother. Do we do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Nick. All right, Nick Siriano heads to the showers at Rutgers Star, and dare I say, an Olympic hopeful for sure. Coming up next, he's Hawkeye bound for sure. He's the second individual in the state of Iowa to ever win a Super 32 championship. We had this interview booked some 3.5 weeks ago. I said, you know what, we got to have you on after you win your Super 32 title. Well, he's up next on the Defense Soap Newsmaker hotline. You're listening to USA Takedown from the Wild Rose Casino Studios with Bogle and Casper, the true Americans, on Iowa Sports Leader. This is 1350 ESPN.
Stay tuned. Casper and Bogle will be right back with more USA Takedown.
Communities need leaders. The birthplace of Bob Feller, Van Meter, Iowa, has too. Paul Szynski and Jim Sinclair have always been there for their community and for the thing that drives us, wrestling. In a position to help or need a cause to get behind, your neighbors and friends can use a hand. Leaders always come together to help, to plan, and to work to make their communities a better place to live. So special thanks to Jim Sinclair and Paul Szynski, two examples of men who lead. Follow these two professionals on LinkedIn for investment opportunities and more.
Hash browns are always part of my favorite breakfast, and the place to get Des Moines' best breakfast is Mullet's Restaurant. Hi, this is Danny Bishop. Stop by on your bike along Meredith Trail by the confluence of the Raccoon and Des Moines rivers. Sit on their 2-level patio, peruse the famous breakfast menu, and you'll understand why Mullet's is the best breakfast restaurant in Des Moines. Mullet's, celebrating all things about the hairstyle that's business in the front and party in the back. Just go to the west end of the Southeast 1st Street Bridge to find Des Moines' best breakfast at Mullet's Restaurant.
The term barbarian was first used in ancient Greece. The athletes were said to be barbarians. Today's modern athletes embrace the hard work when wearing the great gear from Barbarian Apparel. You make the choice: custom graphics, the best sublimation, colors that pop, and logos that matter. Barbarian provides great service before and after the process. Make the right choice. Choose Barbarian Apparel. BarbarianApparel.com.
Welcome back to the show. Bogle, Casper with you on this beautiful Friday. Temps, they say, are going to be in the neighborhood of 45 to 50 central states. But you know what? It's fall. I love this time of year because that generally signifies the beginning of wrestling season. Some events are taking place, even as others are being canceled. But one of them that took place recently, Super 32, Zach Bogle. This is an event of national import. Why?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of Iowa's premier events for high school and I believe middle schoolers. And we have a champion on the show today. Drake, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. You've had quite the 2020. A lot of people aren't liking this year, but it's been good to you.
Yeah, it was. It has been pretty good lately. It's been cool.
What is your past experience, Drake, at the Super 32?
So I've been there like 7 years, and I've never won it. I've gotten second and I've gotten third, but this is my first year winning it. Last year I broke my hand, so I couldn't finish the tournament, but this year I got it done. So
now you had a Super 32, and before that you had Who's Number One. Which one to you? Which one was more personal? Which one did you enjoy winning more?
To be honest, I think they were about the same because, I mean, obviously the Who's Number One match was huge, but then to just back up that and just really prove to yourself and everyone that, and go through a tough tournament like Super 32, I thought that was huge too. So, I mean, I like them both. I can't really pick one more than the other.
Cody Goodwin, the Des Moines Register, a friend of the program, said this best. The evidence is perhaps even a little overwhelming at this point that Fort Dodge's Drake Ayala will go down as one of the best high school wrestlers in the history of Iowa wrestling. What are your thoughts about that statement?
I mean, I really don't know what to think. I mean, it's awesome just to. I mean, I don't even know if I thought that was possible a few years ago. You know what I mean? But now we're here, and it's awesome. It's cool, but I mean, I still have a whole season left, so I'm excited for that.
Drake, what is in the water at Fort Dodge, man?
Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't know, but there's something.
Got to be some, because even, Iowa Central does well, Moffitt and the boys, but you look at what you've been able to accomplish and those around you. Was it Teskey?
Yep.
Trying to
Brody.
think of, and when you said Iowa, Teskey said what? Where'd Teskey?
He's at Northern Iowa.
Northern Iowa.
Yeah.
And there was another one that, and I think we're all at the same banquet. I think I may even hosted that banquet. But he said Penn State, and I went, no.
Yeah. Yeah, we were all surprised by that one, I'm pretty sure.
Right. But you have chosen to stay at home. How hard did Iowa come at you?
I mean, that's one thing I really liked about them is it wasn't them calling me every single day and them texting me 24/7. They told me that they wanted me, and I knew that they could help me, and I knew that, I mean, it'd be a family there, and so it wasn't really like over, like some coaches, like kind of, it didn't get annoying, but it just got kind of like too much almost, and they didn't do that too much, and it was perfect. So,
all right. So, have you had a conversation with Mason City's Cullen Shriver about this Super 32 victory of yours?
I mean, yeah, he texted me and stuff. Why? Like, what do you mean?
That's exactly what I mean. I just wonder if you had any contact with him after the fact, because, again, it's rarefied air. It's so identified not only by your performance, but by all the media sources around the country, how special that effort was. I think it's neat when there is that kind of contact between athletes when that happens again.
Yeah.
Oral Hershiser, for example, when he matched up in the total number of strikeouts in a season, and that type of thing. When Don Drysdale was in the dugout waiting for Hershiser to have broken his record, he didn't even need to go back out and pitch that inning. Okay, he had already matched Drysdale's record as a Dodger. But I just watched this again last night, and there was Drysdale waiting in the dugout to congratulate him and welcome him aboard. A pretty cool and in pretty cool company. Anyway, that's just a side note.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Zach. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Now you guys get to go be teammates at Iowa. What's it like training with an old training partner like Cullen?
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. He's super cool, and he's down to earth. I mean, we've been really close friends for I don't know how many years now, but it's been a long time, and so he wasn't. I mean, I don't think he really cares about the history per se or being the only Super 32 champ. I mean, I just know that he was pumped for me, and he texted me, and we talk. I mean, we talk all the time though. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting to just have people that you're really close with going to college with you, and it just makes for a more at-home atmosphere.
So you think about it, Super 32 champ, Iowa gets its second ever Super 32 champ, and guys like TJ Seabolt are out there going, hey, it's just a blessing to have been your coach. I think that says so much. Well, it says a lot about my boy TJ, but it also says a lot about you. People want to be around you, and they want to learn from you. They want to watch you and experience what you're going through. Is there ever any pressure to be Drake?
I wouldn't say pressure. I mean,
responsibility, perhaps.
Yeah, there's a responsibility. I mean, and my parents have taught me that at a young age. I mean, when I was stepping into these shoes of being a good wrestler or whatever, they told me people are always watching my every move, and I have to make the right decisions. So I mean, I got used to that pretty quick, and I think I'm doing a decent job, and so I'm going to keep trying that. And I mean, obviously, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. So.
All right. So, University of Minnesota picked up a cat named Spratley.
Yeah.
Okay. If I recall, you scored an early takedown on the edge of the first period to knock him off. He's committed to Minnesota.
Yep.
Is that somebody? Well, you know what? Given the weight differentials, I wonder if that is a matchup we'll see again in the future. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, being in the Big Ten, Iowa and Minnesota, they're always wrestling, and I'm sure you're going to see that in the future. I mean, we're at the same weight as seniors in high school, so I mean, I'm not really sure how much he'll grow or how much I'll grow, but I'm sure we'll be at the same weight. So I mean, that's exciting.
Some people are estimating you're going to end up around 6'2", 6'3".
You mean serious?
No, just kidding.
No, I don't. Yeah, I doubt that.
We gotta have some. We gotta have some Drake Ayala T-shirts made up right now. I'll get that. Drake, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Stand by through the break. We're going to take a minute and a half, and we'll come right back to you and wrap up the hour. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Stay tuned. More on the other side. This is USA Takedown. Bogle and Casper, special guest, Defense Soap Newsmaker Hotline, alive with a cat named Drake Ayala. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
You know you like it. Have no fear. The True Americans will be right back with more USA Takedown.
The Defense Soap Facts. Dateline, Cleveland, Ohio. For 12 years, he competed. For 17 years, he coached. And for 30 years, he's policed the streets of Cleveland. He saw teams and programs decimated by skin-borne disease, a wrestler's worst nightmare. He didn't like the chemical-based products on the market and knew that there had to be a better way. A better defense. He found religion in the ingredients that make up the basis for Defense Soap. Tea tree and eucalyptus oil. Defense Soap. All natural, safe to use. It's available around the world now at defensesoap.com.
The wrong financial decisions can undermine the best intentions. Whether concerned for your business or your family's financial future, Trent Weatherman will develop a plan, identifying your goals, and set you on the path to financial security. Trent makes plans for people, no matter your goals. Trent has access to top-rated products and services to help you meet them. In April of 2019, NerdWallet identified Northwestern Mutual as the best life insurance company. Northwestern Mutual is in the top 10 U.S. independent investment broker-dealers in the United States. See the difference for yourself at TrentWeatherman.nm.com.
Something happens when you walk through these doors. It doesn't take long. The lights, the sounds, the winning. Yeah, you're at Wild Rose Casino and Resort. Small enough where we know your name, but big enough to give you the escape from everyday life you deserve. Come on, it's time. Time to win again at Wild Rose Casino and Resort, Jefferson. And find yourself winning even more when you join Club Wild. Wild Rose Casino and Resort, Jefferson. You'd rather be here.
Must be 21 or older. If you or someone you know needs game one treatment, call 1-800-BEDS-OFF.
All right, welcome back to the show. This portion brought to you by our good buddy Trent Weatherman. You remember when he wrestled for Iowa State, the home of the Cyclones. He is your Northwestern Mutual financial consultant. Find out why. Look for him online, Trent Weatherman. Do it. Do it now. We'll wait. Just kidding. Welcome back. Wild Rose Casino Studios special guest, and he's a good one. We had this, what was it, 3.5 weeks ago? Drake, I called you and I said, hey, I want you on the show. And you said, why? Well, obviously, I knew you were going to win the Super 32.
Yeah.
I think I even told you. I said I'm going to have you on after you win the Super 32, right?
Yeah, you did.
And boom.
Now,
boom.
would you have came on if you didn't win it?
I mean, yeah, if you still wanted me to, I would have came on.
He promised.
To.
All right, folks, if you're listening along the live line, about 5 minutes to the top of the hour, our guest, Drake Ayala. And Drake, how many other kids are at home? Is it 2 other kids?
Yep, I have 2 brothers.
And how old are they?
Knox is 9, turning 10 in a few weeks, and then Drew's 15. So
Drew's 15. Okay, all right.
And they wrestle as well, correct?
Yep, they both wrestle.
Are they any good?
Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, they're still learning, but yes, they're pretty good. They're gonna be good.
How many years until they can take you down, you think?
Take me down? Oh man, I don't know if that'll ever happen.
Oh.
Never? All right. Well, we have this recorded, so we might have to revisit that someday.
Not only that, we've got Knox waiting in the wings. Knox, give us your thoughts on your brother.
On Knox or Drew or both?
Yeah, it was a joke. Anyway, he's not waiting in the wings. I can only handle one of your family the greatness. Anyway, so you're planning to go to and committed to the University of Iowa.
Yep.
What does that look like as far as when you would arrive on campus, and are they giving you any kind of idea of what you should be doing now in prep for your eventual arrival in that room and eventual arrival on the campus of the University of Iowa?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that they're like giving me instructions on what to do, because but I mean, normally you go down there and train your senior year, but with the recruiting dead period, I couldn't, and so that's kind of been a bummer. But I mean, yeah, I think I'll arrive there. We haven't really talked much about that. I'm sure we'll talk about that when the time gets closer, but I would imagine next summer, next fall, or something.
Will you be watching the showdown this weekend on Track Wrestling?
I think I'm going, actually.
Oh, you're going. Wow. Okay. Which matchup are you most excited to be looking forward to?
Come on.
Man, the most exciting one probably like James Green and Alex Marinelli.
Yeah, I like that one. The Bull.
Oh, well, I love the Bull, but also I've got a great affection for James Green too. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of always lived in the shadow of somebody.
Well, Drake's got to go with his teammate, you know.
What?
Yeah, it's his teammate, you know.
Well,
you can't show
it.
up on campus like, yeah, I picked James Green against you, my man.
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
But I also, and the Bull's been on the show, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So it's and they've both been on the show, but it's always fun to hear a pick 'em. We, in doing our MMA report last week, Rashad Evans picked the wrestler over
Habib.
Habib, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
over Habib.
Yeah, I didn't put any money on that, so I'm glad I didn't take his advice.
Well, he wears those goofy hats.
Habib? Yeah. I wouldn't say goofy to him ever. I wouldn't say goofy around him.
Well, now
he
said he stopped. He's not going to fight anymore, so you can say whatever you want.
He can still fight outside of the octagon, I'll tell you that.
All right, so in closing, about 2 minutes remain, okay? There are those out there that have followed every single match you've ever wrestled in, and there are those out there that are just now becoming totally aware of all that you've done. What do you want to say to those that are out there? And I'm going to classify them as fans of yours. What would you like to say to them?
I mean, I would just say, first off, is like, thank you. I mean, it's awesome. It's crazy to be a high school kid and have that many people like follow you and stuff around the state of Iowa. And I mean, there's no better state than the state of Iowa, and I truly believe that. So it's awesome. And
is there any truth that the smaller weights always gravitate toward the bigger guys?
As in like friends and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't say so here, but I mean, I'm friends with everyone on my team. I don't think it's like gravitated towards heavy guys. I don't know.
Because guys like Spencer Lee, he doesn't need to be on the show, but I call him up on his birthday, always answers on the first ring. We seem to relate.
Yeah.
I like that. Zach Sanders, same thing. Doesn't matter. But you're one of those guys that are going to be on my phone for a long time, my brother, and I appreciate that. I do.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I hope you enjoyed the interview today as much as it was a great conversation. We're looking forward to seeing what the next chapter looks like for you, Drake. Appreciate the time today.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for calling. Thanks for letting me be on here. I appreciate it.
Always. Best to your fam. All right, folks, he's been on our Defense Soap Newsmaker hotline, and what a great guest. What a great way to end the hour as well. Zach, who's coming up in hour number 2?
Hour number 2, I'm excited, Scott. We have Bobby Telford of the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, North Carolina Associate Head Coach Tony Ramos, and the University of Buffalo Head Coach John Stutzman.
All right. I tell you, this is one of the better shows. If anything, it marks your return to the program. Danny, how much time remaining?
0
time. So
alarm's going off.
Do me a favor. Stand by. We'll be back after the top of the hour. This is USA Takedown on 1350 ESPN.
KRNT Des Moines. A Des Moines Radio Group station and home of ESPN Radio. This is 1350 ESPN. Simulcasting on 102.1 FM. Des Moines sports leader.
Feel free to cut these up and use them on your show. Twitter notifications. Donald Trump and
Welcome back to the Wild Rose Casinos with your hosts, Zach Bogle and Scott Casper.
Oh, no. It's Casper and Bogle.
Casper and Bogle, okay.
Yeah. ABC. No, actually, alphabetically, it would be Bogle and Casper, wouldn't it?
I'm the mentee here. You're the mentor. You tell me.
Oh, I thought you said mint.
No, mentee.
Mint, yeah.
I need a mint.
Drake Ayala, great interview in the first hour. We started it with Tommy Ryan, head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, and Nick Sirianno, a very rare interview with that Rutgers star, and we're grateful that he took time to join us. This hour, Bobby Telford of the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. We got a big event coming up on Sunday at, what's the name of the new arena?
Extreme Arena in Coralville, Iowa. Man, they're breaking that thing in already with wrestling, so I'm excited for it.
Well, it's kind of like Carver Hawkeye, right? Carver Hawkeye was an arena built for wrestlers.
It feels like that, yeah. It feels like a little gladiator-ish.
That's cool. That's cool as far as I'm concerned. And the guy who made his bones at Carver Hawkeye was Tony Ramos, the North Carolina Associate Head Coach, will be joining us in this hour. But we start with the man, the myth, the legend, who has gifted you. You don't know this yet because you've been gone getting married and doing all that stuff.
Okay.
But he sent you some gear to wear on Stalemates, the show, the YouTube show. And I'm going to challenge you to wear it, and you're going to have to stand up at some point because he sent you Nike sweats, right?
Okay, all right.
T-shirts,
I will.
A dry fit and a regular tee.
I cut a good promo, so
right.
I'll wear it.
John Stutzman, always very generous in his largesse. Yeah, I said largesse today. Twice. John Stutzman joins us as head coach of the University of Buffalo. SUNY Buffalo, what's going on, John?
How you guys doing today?
Good morning, sir. Always positive as John Stutzman, no matter where or when. But I remember in the 2019 year that was, the Mid-American Conference voted you, sir, the coach of the year. And I got to believe, I've seen the program from Beekner on, okay? You have literally taken that program to new heights, and I challenge you, obviously, to continue doing that. But it was a standout career you enjoyed on the mats at Alumni Arena, and then now changing the lives of these young people. I think that's terrific, John. You continue your effort.
Well, we're trying. We're trying to keep things rolling here.
Is it super difficult being a head coach right now? I mean, everything's kind of in a state of flux, right? But the challenges of not being able to be in your corners of the corners of the athletes, or in their face in practice or whatever, demonstrating, etc. The challenges have got to be super, super hard.
Oh, it's a huge challenge. I feel for these kids today.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these kids are online classes, all day, every day. They're sitting in front of a computer. And so you really don't have a lot of access to them. And, and we got a big wrestling lounge here. And so we don't, with TVs and stuff. And, we don't see them, and I think that's important, especially bring these freshmen in just to make that connection with them. And it's been really difficult for us, and it's been difficult for the student athletes, but they're doing a good job, and we're just moving forward.
University of Buffalo is where you make your home. We're going to go to Zach Bogle. Zach, this is a guy who is very concerned about you staying warm here in the Iowa winters, enough so where he sends you warm and comfortable, durable, long-lasting Nike sweats.
Well, I appreciate that, Coach. I know that in Buffalo there's the Bills Mafia, but is there a Bulls Mafia out there?
There is, we have a really good following with our football program and our basketball teams, and we have a really strong alumni network inside of our wrestling program. So, we get good crowds, whether it's football, basketball, wrestling, and of course the local community loves the Bills. So, I'm a Cowboy fan, so don't repeat that one.
Okay, all right.
Who's the most famous Buffalo Bill? Was it Doug Flutie?
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly, yeah. Flutie. Yes, Jim Kelly.
Thurman Thomas too. I met him one time.
Thomas. Yep. Yeah, Thurman Thomas. Bruce. Was it Bruce Smith? T.J. Tasker. You got all those guys.
Did they ever just stop by the wrestling room and say, "Hey, what's up"?
You know what? When Jordan Burroughs comes in town, he does.
Okay,
he comes in quite often.
Good enough.
But he's related to Thurman and through marriage and all that good stuff. So we got to get those guys over.
You know what was weird? I was announcing a basketball game I think I was working for the Bulls at the time, and I got a text message from Burroughs said, "Hey, I'm coming to watch this game. I understand you work for this team." And I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, don't say anything about me being here." I'm thinking, right. So on the PA, I introduced Jordan Burroughs, and he gratefully stood up and waved to everybody. But man, when you get somebody like Jordan Burroughs stopping by the room, I think that's pretty cool. It tells you his love and dedication for the sport, right?
Oh, he's awesome. He's a huge mentor for thousands of kids, and my guys love him when he stops in and gets a workout in the room and all that good stuff. So it's always a positive.
And he's coming back east, baby. He's coming back east.
2021 or 2022, whenever the Olympics are over, he'll be back.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about it. You mentioned mentorship. Let's talk about those that are on your team that are assuming leadership positions, if anything, based on their actions and activities.
Yeah, Derek Spand, he went from a walk-on to a two-time national qualifier for us, top 15 kid in the country, just 3.5 GPA. The kid is an awesome kid. He's dedicated, man. We're excited for him this year. Hopefully he gets a chance to showcase his ability. And then we got Sam Schuyler, U.S. national champion, 197 pounds. He's been ranked in the top 10 in the country. So we're excited about those two and a bunch of our other young guys. So it's going to be a fun year if we have one, and I think we're going to.
Schuyler out of Kings Park, New York, okay?
Yep.
And it's not necessarily a wrestling hotbed, but there are sparklers that come out of it. This kid is a hard-nosed kid at 97. Is he going to maintain 97 for you or what?
I think this year he will. We've had some conversations. He's lost to the number one kid in the country fairly close a couple of times, and so I'm like, well, go get him. Well, let's put ourselves in a position to go wrestle this guy again and see where we're at, and so I'm excited about him. He's a great kid, great student, and he's going to give guys fits. He's big, strong, but after this year, I think he's going to go to a heavyweight. He's pretty big.
He reminds me of a young John Stutzman.
No, he's much better than me.
I was going to say. I wasn't going to say it myself. Okay, go ahead. Zach Vogel, you're up.
Yeah, my co-host Scott's probably sick of me asking this question, but for the fantasy wrestling people out there, they always want to know, who are some of the sleepers that you might have on your team that are big bonus point guys?
Ooh, man, that's a good one. We're going to be really young this year. We're going to be a really young team, but like I said, Derek Spand scores points.
Okay.
We're just trying to figure out what weight class he's going to be. He's going to be 33, 41. He got really big in the off season, but he's big. And I think he's one as far as bonus point potential. We graduated Troy Keller, who always got bonus points, so we're going to be hurting there. So I would say Derek Spand at 141. As far as if you're looking for pure bonus points, he'd be the guy.
What about Jimmy Ryan?
Jimmy Ryan, he's unique.
Yeah.
He chews bubble gum like it's going out of style. A little tidbit about him. He probably puts 10 pieces in his mouth a day and chews probably 5 packs a day. But he's working. He's a good boy, and I think he has a lot of potential. I'm excited about him. You know, he's just an unorthodox kind of kid. I really like him. I really like him.
Jimmy's sponsored by the American Dental Association, by the way. Just throwing that out there.
Starburst bubblegum.
Hey, I'm here to kick you know what and chew bubblegum. I'm all out of bubblegum. That could be his new saying.
Oh, wow.
I like that.
Oh, there's a new shirt waiting to happen. Monsignor Farrell is where he made his bones out. He's out of Staten Island. I like that about him. He's a kid that you think of street tough. He's got it going on, does Jimmy Ryan. What about Nate Ross? What can you tell us more about Nate Ross?
Nate Ross is a freshman, you know, so he's developing and you know, he's just finding his way, you know, as these young kids are right now, just finding their way. But he's doing well. He's doing really well. But I will tell you, the one guy I'm really excited about is Tristan Darty from Peoria. Okay. Kid is he's going to be a hammer. He's going to be a hammer. So, like I said, we got a good group of young kids, you know, up and down the lineup. So it's going to be It's going to be a fun next couple of years here.
I like that Peoria Notre Dame history or lineage he's got going on as a true freshman out of Peoria. I love that. How difficult is it for John Stutzman to recruit Illinois?
Not at all. You know, to be quite honest with you, it's probably closer for me to get to Chicago than it is for me to get to New York City, Staten Island, Long Island area. Right, so it's just easier, you know, and Illinois is such a great state of wrestling. You know, those kids need a place to go. You know, you got 3-4 in-state schools there, and if you know they have to leave state if they want to wrestle Division I. So it's you know, I got a lot of connections there when I coached with Dave Grant there in Northern Illinois for a number of years. So right. I got a lot of Illinois ties. So it's fairly easy, and I like the Illinois kids.
Dave Grant, is he still making his living in commercial real estate?
He's killing it out there in DeKalb. I think he owns the whole town.
He can single-handedly now, by himself, support the program there for the Huskies. Let's go back to Zach. Zach?
Yeah, we touched on Illinois not having wrestling a little bit there. Do you think that that's going to cause a lot of transfers for some of these higher-level wrestlers?
You know, the issue is when are they going to transfer?
Yeah.
You know, school's already started, you know, and you know, I mean, are they going to go second semester or quarters or wherever they are? I would assume not. You know, I just think a lot of these kids they're going to continue to train throughout their clubs, and hopefully the USA, you know, wrestling in their state can put some big open tournaments on and invite everybody. I know Frank Populizio in New York's thinking about doing something like that here for our kids. So, yeah, so I don't know. It's so up in the air, and I feel for these kids. There's so many kids under the radar that needed this senior year to make their big push and you know, to get a scholarship or get a roster spot. And unfortunately, they're not going to get it. You know, it's a tough time for these kids.
You know, I think that's probably a topic for my other show, Talk Therapy, the mental health show. But I will say this, that America's youth, men and women, boys and girls, are being challenged. They're being restrained. They're being told more what to do now than ever before. They're, in some cases, living in fear. The challenges that America's youth are facing right now are very unique to this day and age. And then having to deal with it, you and your staff, the athletic department there at University of Buffalo, I got to believe the challenges. Do you guys talk about this in your coaches' meetings and the athletic department meetings?
We do. I mean, we have unbelievable support staff here. You know, talking to our kids daily, led by Kelly Piper. They just talk to our kids daily, just trying to get them workshops, just trying to help them understand that hopefully this will pass. You know, but these kids are being restrained now more than ever before. I mean, I got 3 kids, and they're all in sports and club system, and I won't let them have fear in this situation. You know, I think we got to go get out there and about and live our life and make the best of it.
Mm. You know, we think about people that have made an impact in our careers, our lives, et cetera. Like Zach, he doesn't understand why he makes an impact on me. You know, he's better than half my age. Okay. But and who is it? Rob Cole talked about that, which he has learned from some of his great wrestlers, Kyle Dake to name at least one of them, but he talks about that. Are you still learning from your young athletes that are coming into the program, that are already in the program? Are you still learning?
Yeah, you know what? I am. Back, when I was at Bloomsburg, it was a different kind of kid, and now these kids they're different, and they're different in a better way, in some sense. They're educated, they're smart, they ask why, they challenge you every day about certain situations, and so it's a different kid, and it's a kid, like I said, to ask why a lot, and you got to explain a lot of different things at different times.
I remember when we first met. I think it was at Bloom, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, and first of all, that lunchroom with that view.
Monty's.
Yeah, right? What a great experience that was. But the best part for me was being there for a match, and I'm trying to remember who it was. Pittsburgh, perhaps?
Pitt, yep, Pitt.
Pitt. And what a great and fun time it was for me to watch you guys in action in a home gym situation. Those have got to be awfully special, but are there road trips that you love to take?
I like being on the road better.
Really?
I think I love being on the road. I think it's fun being with the guys. As I get older, I want to get younger,
Right.
so just being around these guys and this team in particular right now, and they're kind of rejuvenating me a little bit, remotivating me to work harder and get back to what we're doing. I mean, it's fun being around young kids and kids that are hungry for success, and it just motivates you and makes you better all around. I would hope.
Well, I'm going to send you a copy of my new book titled "I'm Old, ... How It Happened." Okay. Yeah. And by the way, there's an exciting sequel coming out about that too. I'm no longer here. Deal with it. Get over it. Our guest, John Stutzman on the Defense Up Newsmaker Hotline. This portion of our show brought to you by so many of our sponsors, and I want to list off at least two. Ghazali's Mediterranean. I want to thank Mullet's Restaurant, the home of what, Danny? Mullet's has got one thing that you just absolutely focus on.
I am a bit of a freak about hash browns. I like them crispy, and no, it's weird. A lot of people don't get them for breakfast. They do the bacon and eggs, right?
Yeah.
I need the hash browns.
You got to have.
Oh,
and by the way, and John, next time you come to Central Iowa, it's my treat. We'll take you to Mullet's. There's a table there dedicated to Dan Gable. Okay, every restaurant in America and dare I say around the world has had to take out a certain number of tables in their restaurant in order to reactivate in-house dining. So the one table that there is no question that they would or would not take out, the one table they did not take out and would not, is the Dan Gable table. How about that? I think that's special.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I do too. John Stutzman, our guest. Johnny, are you still there? Did we lose him?
I'm here.
There
I'm
he
here,
is.
my man.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, I just want to make sure you're still there. Okay, so within the conference, right, just give me a view from 30,000 feet. How does Buff look?
We're going to be young, but I think we're going to be pretty good. I think we're going to wrestle hard as usual. I'm excited to get this thing off the ground and see where we're at. But
right.
I think we're going to be young. We're going to be unproven in some weights, but young and dumb is fun. So we're going to be competitive. We're going to fight hard, and we're going to get back to just our winning ways and just competing at a really high level. So it's going to be a fun time.
And will it be a pod type conference championship?
So we're going to start, I believe, January 2nd. I'm hoping, we got Michigan State tentatively coming in here with Ohio University and Edinburgh Quad. We're able to shoot, hopefully, if everything gets passed. And then, and then February 27th, 28th, we'll have the MAC championships, but it's going to be a full tournament.
It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be an interesting time. Hopefully we can get to that point.
Is there any chance that there'll be fans in the stands?
No. Especially out east here, I would say no. We're a little different. We got a really high standards as far as rules and regulations and protocols that we're following here, just so we can have wrestling and other sports. So I would say no.
Well, a guy with high standards, as always. John Stutzman's been our guest, the head coach of the University of Buffalo, and that, of course, in the great state of New York, outside of the state, or excuse me, outside of the city of New York. Yeah, there is greatness that's out there, and it's the state of New York. I love that. John, we love your brother and appreciate it. Give our best to your squad, your team, your coaches. And by the way, hats off to Oliver and McBride and Evan Ramos and even Patty. She does a remarkable job. And
all those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Coach Ramos and Coach Oliver and Coach McBride. McBride just moved out to Olympic Training Center, living with Jaden Cox out there.
Is that right?
Yeah, he just took a resident athlete position out there. So I'm excited for him,
That's
man.
cool.
It's just a great time for him.
Constant growth under your tutelage, sir. Find them online, ubbulls.com, ubbulls.com. John, thanks for the gear. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Fan of Stalemates, by the way, my man. I'm a fan.
Hey, thank you, man.
Wait.
That.
Is there a future episode coming up with John Stutzman in it?
100% would do that. 100%.
All right. I'll give you the number. All right, John, look for the call.
All right. Thank you.
There we go. Stutz is heading to the Wings. Coming up next, who do we got? There's Zach Bogle.
Coming up next, we have North Carolina Associate Head Coach Tony Ramos.
That's what I'm talking about. Stick around. There's more on the other side of the timeout. USA Takedown. USA Takedown only on 1350. This is ESPN Radio.
All guests on USA Takedown appear on the Defense Soap Newsmaker hotline. Joe Rogan said, "That stuff is awesome. I just ordered a ton of it and use it every day." Defense Soap. It's what the pros use.
Communities need leaders. The birthplace of Bob Feller, Van Meter, Iowa, has too. Paul Szynski and Jim Sinclair have always been there for their community and for the thing that drives us, wrestling. In a position to help or need a cause to get behind, your neighbors and friends can use a hand. Leaders always come together to help, to plan, and to work to make their communities a better place to live. So special thanks to Jim Sinclair and Paul Szynski, two examples of men who lead. Follow these two professionals on LinkedIn for investment opportunities and more.
Hash browns are always part of my favorite breakfast, and the place to get Des Moines' best breakfast is Mullet's Restaurant. Hi, this is Danny Bishop. Stop by on your bike along Meredith Trail by the confluence of the Raccoon and Des Moines rivers. Sit on their two-level patio, peruse the famous breakfast menu, and you'll understand why Mullet's is the best breakfast restaurant in Des Moines. Mullet's, celebrating all things about the hairstyle that's business in the front and party in the back. Just go to the west end of the Southeast 1st Street Bridge to find Des Moines' best breakfast at Mullet's Restaurant.
Calderberg's PBS Landscaping knows what grows best in Iowa because they're from Iowa. Locally owned and operated, Calderberg's is a full-service landscaping and lawn care company. Everything you need from lawn care and landscape design to water features, tree planting, irrigation, and snow removal. Matt Calderberg and his staff are great. They take care of my family year-round. They can take care of yours, too. My office and home, they cover it all. They're my friends and should be yours as well. Visit them at calderberglandscaping.com.
There it is. All right, the Wild Rose Casino Studios. By the way, if you want a good time, check out our friends at Wild Rose Casinos. 3 convenient locations. Clinton, okay, the originator, then Emmitsburg, and then the newest location, a beautiful one at that, Jefferson. That's where you'll find Travis Dvorak and his talented team. Their entire goal is to make sure you have fun at Wild Rose Casinos, okay? So whether you're gambling, wagering, maybe you want to play the sports book, okay? Now, DraftKings is the premier sports book anywhere. I don't care. Look at it, man. They've got the greatest online experience for fans, period. But you can go there and do it live at the sports book at the casino, or you can do it online as well. We encourage you to go live. That way you'll see what other people are doing, experience Coach's Cafe. It's so much fun. It's so much fun at Wild Rose Casino in Jefferson, Clinton, and Emmitsburg. I just saw some cat won $12,000 on a slot machine. Could you dig that? 12 grand on a slot machine? I mean, then that would put you in the monetary category of, like, say, Jordan Peterson.
You know what I would do with $12,000?
give me half first, and then what would you do with the other half?
I'd take everybody in this room out to Mullets.
Yeah,
and we would
that
get some hash browns.
all right, that's not. You just won both of us.
I've
Okay.
got Coach Ramos on the line.
Let's do it. You ready to make the introductions?
I'm ready.
Do it.
We have North Carolina royalty in the house. Tony Ramos, what's going on, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're super grateful that you're taking the time. I know you're busy, Tony, being a dad, being a coach.
A student recently, right?
Yeah, I actually just applied to go back to school at UNC. I was jealous that I actually wasn't really an alumni here. So, I never thought I would say I'm probably going to go back to school and try and work on something.
And I don't want to put any undue pressure on you, associate head coach, but, it was really cool getting what a box of printer paper looks like? A box, okay? That size of a box, really well-crafted box. And when it showed up from the University of Buffalo and inside the box was gear sent for Zach Bogle and I to wear on Zach's show, the Stalemate Show on YouTube. I'm talking about sweat bottoms, okay? But these are gray. Now, the color most admired out there, of course, is the powder blue and the pattern that does represent your team, sir. And I've yet to see that box come from either FedEx or UPS, but perhaps one day, I'm teasing, of course, but I thought it was pretty cool. So, all right, associate head coach, you and I have been friends for a long time. Your brothers represented me professionally on a couple different occasions. I'm a big fan. You know that. We're also friends. I was super grateful that you had the opportunity to go down to Chapel Hill and make a difference. Coleman obviously agrees. You've been having a great deal of fun doing that, but also becoming a dad in such a way where the change in you has been night and day. I mean, it's no longer just about you. It's about your family first and foremost, and I love that.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun just coming down here, coming to a program that I think Coleman was here 3 years before I got here. That was, extremely fast making a change. We actually looked at it the other day when he became head coach in 15-16. I think they were 32nd at the NCAA tournament.
Right.
And then last year we finished, in the top 10 in the final coaches poll.
Wow.
And we didn't get to finish the championship, as everyone knows, so we don't know how that would have ended up. But I've never seen a program that's had that quick of a turnaround. Usually, it takes 6, 7, 8, 9 years to build and get that base under you, but we've done it fast, and it's been fun.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest differences is the fact that kids want to be around you. They know of your history, of course, going back to your graduation of 2014, but if you look at what you've been able to accomplish and the way you did it, you were always very visible. If you disagreed and made it public. You always stood up for yourself and what you knew to be right. And now you're doing it on behalf of your athletes. They know you're there to champion them. And that's a huge responsibility.
Yeah, it's been good. And like you said, the kids buy in easier. It's easier to get them to believe in what you're doing when they really feel that you have their best interest and you're going to go to bat for them and you're going to fight for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they've noticed that just in the little changes we've made, around the wrestling room and the little things we've done, getting a coach's locker room put in with some nice facilities and, updating the speakers and the sound systems in the lockers and, better gear, just little things like that. They see the changes and the effort that you're putting in, and it helps them make those little changes that are going to make the difference.
Okay, so you've got 3 kids now, right?
Yep. Oh, 4.
Oh.
That 4th one about 2 months ago.
And we got AJ, we got Lincoln, we got
yep.
Is it Calla?
Yep, it's Calla, and then the new one's Molly.
Molly, okay. At some point during that process of developing your family, building your family with Megan, you made the decision in, I'm going to say it was June of 2019 to officially retire from competition. How important was your family in making that decision?
It was big. So, I mean, I think me and my wife had numerous conversations on if it was the right time, keep going, kind of what to do, because it wasn't like I knew in June 2019 that I was going to be done. There were conversations, I think, 18 and maybe after 17. And, just a couple of times like, hey, what do you think? Or this is kind of how I'm feeling. This is where I'm at. And finally, we all, as a group came to an agreement that, like, hey, we knew this was going to be the last run. This was the last year. And a lot of people are like, well, why in 19? Why didn't you just wait till 20, with the Olympics? Well, to me, it wasn't about waiting for the Olympics. It was about what was the right time for me to move on and what was right with my family and where we were at. And that's what made it peaceful, and that's what made it easy. And I even told my dad, going into Raleigh for the World Team Trials, he couldn't make it. And I said, are you sure you're not going to come to this one? I go, because this is the last year. For some reason, I don't get into Final X or whatever it was at the time. I go, that's going to be my last competition, and you're going to be okay with that. And he just kept telling me, I'll see you in Lincoln, Nebraska at Final X. So I don't know if, on their end, if they wish they could have been there for that one or not. But, I was at peace and comfortable with the timing and the decision and kind of how it went down.
What's it like having all your family in your corner? I know after you won your national title, you immediately went over to where your family was at. You guys had the hats and everything like that. What's it like to have those guys behind you?
It's great. This sport's hard. It's tough. It's an emotional roller coaster. You can't do it by yourself. Obviously, there's times where it's just you out on the mat or you in the room working out, and that's when you're going to build, the most out of you. But the emotions and the support, you need those every day, because you're going to get freaking beat up by the sport. It's going to tear your heart out, and there's got to be people around you to kind of repair that and put it back together and make sure you're staying on track.
I want to talk about some of these independent cards that are going on. A lot of the RTCs are having their own events nowadays. Is there one on the horizon for the Tar Heels Wrestling Club?
We've had a lot of discussions. It's Tom Brands has mentioned and Cal's mentioned. These things are hard. It's not just about calling a guy up and saying, hey, you want to wrestle?
Mm-hmm.
You got to figure out the financial part. You got to figure out the timing. There's a lot that goes into it. And some people just don't want to wrestle, depending on who it is or where it's at. So it's been a process on that end, finding the right timing, finding the right funding, and then even the bigger part is, finding the right platform. Mm. Do I host this on Rockfin and do my own? Do I host it on Flow and use their production? What kind of money can I make out of it for the club? Is it financially, good for everyone? You go to track. Heck, is ESPN going to start getting in this? That'd be fun. So we're weighing all the different options.
One thing that a lot of people are talking about is the pay and whatnot, and saying how the pay might start competing with guys wanting to train for the Olympics or Worlds and such and such. But is that something that would have been in your mind if you were in those guys' shoes?
It's one of those things where I think for the longest time, for our sport to grow and get a better fan base, we had to do something different where the end-all, be-all isn't just the Olympic world titles. We had to start using a different model, and I think this model is going to help when there is good money involved, when there's consistent cards, when there's a lot of different places people can watch these things and just help the brand of the athletes better. Almost like basketball and some of these bigger sports, they have their pro seasons. That's really what they train for. And then the Olympics or the World Championships, when they get on those teams, that's a huge honor, and they're excited to be a part of those. I think and I hope wrestling can get to that one day. Not where one's really taking a backseat to the other, but where they're both working together.
I'm glad that you brought up a brand there, because that's my next question. I know you got into it a little bit with an SID of a rival school, kind of saying stuff about, branding and whatnot. And then Wisconsin just came out, I believe, yesterday saying they're working with a guy that I believe was like a big brand manager for Aaron Rodgers and a few other big names. Do you feel like your guys are the trailblazers of starting personal brands for these college athletes, wrestlers in specific?
Yeah, I really think we are. That whole NC State thing was pretty funny because they got upset that they released a good piece of content, just talking about what's in town and things you can do. But what's funny is we're 15 minutes apart from each other. So, yes, we can all do the same thing, and it's going to look pretty much the same. And they were mad that we were using the same things that they were using. But, you look around social media nowadays and programs and teams, everyone uses the same content. Everyone's kind of piggybacking off each other. Everything looks similar. And that's, because if it works, why not use it?
Right.
Right? And that's one of the things where I think we've really set the trend on the wrestling side is, our SID, Joe Wedro, is really good, and he got a lot of photographers working with us. And there's this new, I don't know if it's a company or just social media, Skull Spark, who kind of keeps tracks of interactions and things like that. And, we've always been top 5. I think just last month we were top 3 interactions on social media.
Wow.
And that comes from, all the pictures and that we put out and posts and just keeping our guys, really at the forefront in the wrestling world. And eyes are on them. People are noticing them. We were one of the top programs when it came to Instagram with interactions. So it's been fun, and I think we've done a really good job of growing the program's brand along with the individual's brand. And we've learned how to maximize those together.
Now, is the MySpace? I'm still on the MySpace.
No, you're way off now.
And it's
it's all on Twitter. All the smoke's on Twitter nowadays.
So smoke on Twitter.
Yeah.
You got your Facebook slackers. Yeah. Okay, but then Instagram, right?
Instagram and TikTok. Are you on TikTok yet, Tony?
I'm on TikTok. I need more followers on TikTok. I got some funny ones on there, but they haven't been taken off like I expect them to.
What's your handle? Maybe shout it out right now.
It's at TRAM133. All my handles are at TRAM133. I think one of them might have an underscore in between the T and the R, but they all actually might have it. I can't remember exactly. I'd have to go and look.
Okay.
But when you talk about social media things, it's actually interesting to see how things change. You bring up TikTok or MySpace. Facebook for us is actually terrible. We need to do a better job on Facebook because you got to figure out what generations are using what. Facebook's more an older generation now. The big one that's, the kids are using and the high school kids that we're really trying to attract the attention of is Instagram. So we put a lot of effort and time into Instagram. We still use Twitter pretty well because it's, fairly big, but the biggest is Instagram. I've talked to our SID a few times about how we need to get a TikTok going just because I think that's going to be the next one that blows up in that high school range, recruit range, kids looking at the program.
I think one thing that was always, I feel like one thing that's underrated when it comes to like recruiting kids and staying relevant with the kids is the uniforms and the different colorways and everything. What better place to be than North Carolina when you got Jordan Brand behind you?
That's right. And I'll tell you what, we have the best gear and we have the best colorway.
How much do they support you being, wrestling and basketball? Is Jordan Brand 100% behind wrestling?
So we're not actually like the whole school's like Nike Jordan Brand.
Mm-hmm.
It depends what sport you're in. We were trying to get Jordan to, on the singlets and shoes and everything. They just don't have enough gear for wrestling. So we're more on the Nike side, but our Nike contract's huge. It's just because of Jordan, what he's done. We have tons of support. I think each kid gets about $3,000 to $4,000 in retail gear every year.
Nice.
We get new singlets every year. We get, when you talk about the gear and the singlets, we try and stay on top of the trends. New singlets, giving kids new things to look at. Recruits come in, they love it. I think we're like the Oregon of wrestling. I think we've got like 8 or 9 different singlets and options that we can pick from right now.
How early into the recruiting pitch do you tell them like, hey man, all this gear, you want this? Is it within the first 10 minutes of meeting somebody?
No, we have kind of our presentation we do. It's in there in the presentation. We touch on the gear part. Really, when I think they start to notice the gears when they come to campus and take their visits, we have everything kind of laid out for when they do their photo shoots, and they get to pick and choose what they want to use.
Okay.
By the way, I want to apologize. Peter Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive is my new ringer on my cell phone. So that came up. Forgot to turn the ringer off. All right. If there's a ringer on your cell phone or a piece of music, what is it?
Ooh.
Mine's
on vibrate, but if I'm picking a song that represents me, everyone knew what I picked in college all the time. That's Run This Town by Jay-Z.
That's it.
I love it.
I'm in a New York state of mind. Jay-Z.
That's right.
The fact that I knew 2 songs by Jay-Z, that tells you something. I'm plugged in.
Yeah.
T-Ram, it's always good to talk to you, brother. Love and respect for your fam. Tell Frankie I said, hey, it's been a while since I chatted. But Coleman Scott's got it going on. Making you associate head coach was absolutely the right move. Ton of respect for you. You know that's always been there, always will be.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on, and we look forward to seeing you in the future.
All right, God bless you, buddy. That's one of the good guys out there. He gets it. Watching him make his way from a young competitor to seasoned veteran was phenomenal. It was so exciting to watch. But now he's in charge of the lives and the careers of young people, and I love that even more. All right, stay tuned. There's more on the other side. You're listening to the show that matters. It is USA Takedown only on 1350. This is ESPN Radio.
The coverage of wrestling and MMA continues after this timeout here on USA Takedown, only on Iowa's sports leader, 1350 ESPN.
The Defense Soap Facts. Dateline, Cleveland, Ohio. For 12 years, he competed. For 17 years, he coached. And for 30 years, he's policed the streets of Cleveland. He saw teams and programs decimated by skin-borne disease, a wrestler's worst nightmare. He didn't like the chemical-based products on the market and knew that there had to be a better way. A better defense. He found religion in the ingredients that make up the basis for Defense Soap. Tea tree and eucalyptus oil. Defense Soap. All natural, safe to use. It's available around the world now at defensesoap.com. The term barbarian was first used in ancient Greece. The athletes were said to be barbarians. Today's modern athletes embrace the hard work when wearing the great gear from Barbarian Apparel. You make the choice. Custom graphics, the best sublimation, colors that pop, and logos that matter. Barbarian provides great service before and after the process. Make the right choice. Choose Barbarian Apparel. BarbarianApparel.com.
Well, since he joined the staff, the Hawkeyes won 2 Big Ten regular season dual titles and 1 Big Ten tournament. He's got a bigger job, I think, even more so now than ever before. He is part of the Hawkeye Wrestling Club's effort for the showdown that is coming up on Sunday, live from Coralville. You'll watch it on Track Wrestling. He is one of the best big men of the modern era. We call him Bobby Telford. He joins us now. Good morning, Bobby. How are you?
Awesome. How's it going?
Huge, huge. I'm so excited for the weekend. It's somebody said it's Iowa's turn. No, it isn't Iowa's turn. It's the Iowa Hawkeye Showdown. That's it. There's no other superlative that needs to be added. This is a way for us to see Iowa wrestlers, the Hawkeyes, being showcased in an event of its own making. Of course, there's going to be a heavy Iowa Hawkeye presence. But talk a little bit about this event, because it's been a while in building, and you've got a phenomenal new facility in the Extreme Arena there in Coralville to showcase in. Talk to us a little bit about the event.
Absolutely. First off, we got some great partners in this event. We got Extreme Arena, working with Josh Schamberger in Coralville. I mean, awesome, top notch. And then we're working with Track Wrestling as well for the stream. Mm-hmm. It doesn't get any better than those 2 partners there.
So, no, there's an undercard, right? There's an undercard that you don't have to pay for. Is that right?
Correct. So there's 2 parts. There'll be an undercard and a main card. The undercard will be free on Track Wrestling, and then you can also watch. We have a limited fan attendance at the Extreme Arena, and that'll start at 4 o'clock, and then we have a main card, 9 matches, starting at 6 p.m. So we're excited. A lot of great wrestling. It's going to be fast action, fast pace. In between matches, there won't be a lot of downtime. We're going to have a lot of fun.
All right, so here's the deal, fans. You're going to want to get on In other words, registered for it early, okay? Be one of those fans that votes with the dollars, because a lot of the benefit will go to the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. I want to be clear on that, okay? This is an important fundraising effort as well as a showcase. Make sure you're on Track Wrestling now and schedule the event. Buy it firsthand. Be there. If you can't be there in person, that's cool. That's why Track Wrestling will be there. And I think you're going to see an outstanding broadcast by our friends at Track. The event includes 6 current Iowa wrestlers, okay? And we'll get into the matchups here in a minute, but you're also going to see some guys that can absolutely bring it. And let's start with Jaden Ironman versus Vladimir Klinkashvili. What can you tell us about this matchup?
It's huge. It's huge. Ironman, he's a transfer in last year. This is his first year representing the University of Iowa in the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, and he's got a worthy opponent, a world champ, Olympic champ. It doesn't get any better than that. And we're pumped. We're excited. It's a great opportunity to wrestle right here in our backyard. It's the best guys in the world, not in the country, in the world.
Klinkashvili, by the way, is a 29-year-old athlete out of the country of Georgia. Won Olympic gold in 2012, world gold in 15, both at 57 kilos. Talk about a matchup. Ironman's got his hands full, and I think Vladimir does as well. Nice matchup there. Kemmerer, my boy, gets to wrestle Tommy Gant. That's a great matchup.
Absolutely. Kemmerer's back on the mat, and, these guys are hungry. They're hungry for the mat. Everyone knows the situation the world's in right now, and we're moving forward. Wrestling always starts in November, and this year is no different. We're starting in November, and Kemmerer's got a worthy opponent in Tommy Gant, and we're ready for the action to start.
All right, and a little bit about Gant, by the way, past All-American from NC State. He won the Bill Farrell, took third, I think, at the 2019 U.S. Senior Nationals. Meanwhile, Michael Kemmerer, 2-time All-American there, and a number 2 seed at 74 at the 2020 NCAA Championships after going 15-5 last season. So that's going to be a great matchup. You're not treating women's wrestling as a redheaded stepchild, if I can use the term. You've got Sarah Hildebrandt in there against Erin Golston. This is a match all by itself is worth the price of admission.
Absolutely. You talk about the best in the world, leaders in their sport, our sport of wrestling. That's a huge topic that, the sport in general is talking about integrating women's wrestling into the NCAA at all divisions. And that's something that was really important to us in this event. And this event is equal opportunity, equal pay. Everyone's post-collegiate, I'm talking, equal pay for men and women, right. And we're really excited. The athletes that we have on board in this, it's going to be awesome.
Thank you, Bobby. I love equal pay. This one, I know we've talked about it prior to Zach, and that is Alex Marinelli versus Jimmy James Green. What are your thoughts?
The bull is back, and he is ready to roll. And I'll talk again. I don't want to get too long-winded. These guys are hungry for the mat.
Yeah.
And again, you got James Green, 4-time All-American, 2-time bronze medalist, and a silver medalist. So 3-time world medalist, I believe. And those guys are going to let the fur fly. So, exciting matchups, exciting opportunities, and it's when those guys take the mat, they can display their wrestling. And, some of the trying times that they may have had or the world has had, and leave it out on the mat and get back to wrestling.
One thing they've all got going they've all been on this very show. Huh? Yeah. Including Tony Cassiope and his opponent, Nick Gwizdowski. This one's got greatness written all over it. The young stud in Tony and the grizzled veteran in Nick. This is a weight class you're so familiar with, Bobby Telford. What are your thoughts on the heavies?
Absolutely. Tony came here to wrestle the best guys in the world and be the best in the world. And this matchup is putting him in line to make the world team and make Olympic teams and win world and Olympic medals. That's why he came to the University of Iowa. That's why he's wrestling and representing the Hawkeye Wrestling Club. And he's got a worthy opponent, again, Nick Wazowski, a veteran, been around a while,
Yep.
and a lot of people know his name. Tony coming up. It's a great classic matchup.
I wish Tony Nelson was going to be there.
Did I say Tony Nelson? I meant to say Tony Cassiope. Sorry about that.
Now, Coach, will you have your single on underneath of your coaching gear just in case one of these guys falls out?
Oh.
I'll jump on the mat if need be, but I'll be coaching the whole time. So.
All right, do me a favor, Bobby. We got to jump to a national break here real quick. We'll be back on the other side about a minute and a half, and then we'll wrap up our review of the main event matchup. So stay tuned. There's more about the Hawkeye Wrestling Club Classic that's coming up, the big showdown this Sunday. You'll find it on Track Wrestling at the Extreme Arena, live from Coralville. We're live from Des Moines. This is USA Takedown, only on 1350 ESPN Radio.
All guests on the USA Takedown appear on the Defense Soap Newsmaker Hotline. Made in the USA with unparalleled quality, and it's guaranteed. Defense Soap. It's what the pros use.
Hi, it's Danny Bishop. Today's economy presents certain challenges, and along with those come opportunities. The potential rewards are for those who are adept at identifying long-term trends. Don Boyd and his team of financial advisors at 5 Talents Financial Management Group can help you navigate today's economy. Whether you're facing retirement or just looking to better understand certain investment ideas, they can help you. 5 Talents Financial Management Group's first priority is your overall financial success. And that's why they learn about your individual situation, identify your dreams and goals, and get a picture of your tolerance for risk. Long-term relationships that encourage open and honest communication are the cornerstone of their foundation of success. FTFMG.com or call 223-7487, 223-7487. 5 Talents Financial Management Group.
The wrong financial decisions can undermine the best intentions. Whether concerned for your business or your family's financial future, Trent Weatherman will develop a plan, identifying your goals, and set you on the path to financial security. Trent makes plans for people, no matter your goals. Trent has access to top-rated products and services to help you meet them. In April of 2019, NerdWallet identified Northwestern Mutual as the best life insurance company. Northwestern Mutual is in the top 10 U.S. independent investment broker-dealers in the United States. See the difference for yourself at TrentWeatherman.nm.com.
Sports fans, Wild Rose Casino and Resort Emmitsburg has made a home for you. From our DraftKings Sportsbook to Coach's Corner Sports Bar and Grill, every game day is a great day. And now available at Wild Rose, off-track betting. Now you can wager on horse racing from all across the country. Visit wildroseresorts.com for hours and info. Wild Rose Casino and Resort Emmitsburg. You'd rather be here.
Must be 21 or older. If you or someone you know needs gambling treatment, call 1-800-BEDS-OFF.
All right, welcome back to the Wild Rose Casino Studios. You're listening to USA Takedown on ESPN 1350. Bobby Telford on the line. This next matchup is I'm most excited for this matchup. We got 2 superstars in the game of wrestling, the sport of wrestling. Austin DeSanto, Bryce Meredith. What do you know about it?
I know there's going to be a lot of action. I know there's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. There's been some, not to make the match dramatic, but there's been some chirping in the past year with those two. Not that Austin has too much social media. That makes the match a little bit more exciting. But you talk about style matchups and, just overall points that these guys score in their matches. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Now, I know that you guys just announced that you're going to allow fans in the building. Is that something I think that helps Austin? I think he kind of thrives off of that energy. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah, I think we wrestle in the greatest atmosphere in the world. Travel in the world and wrestling in a lot of countries, and then you come back to Carver Hawkeye Arena. It's the best atmosphere in the world. It's not even comparable. So feeding off that energy there and feeding off of big competitions, that's what you come to the University of Iowa to do, and that's why you wrestle at Division I athletics and Division I wrestling.
Barb Reynolds is super excited about this event, I got to tell you. So, and I heard from her overnight, so she was looking forward to your appearance on this very program. DeSanto, Meredith, I've worked with Bryce's dad. Bryce, almost said hell. Anyways, a heck of a competitor. If you recall, wrestling for Wyoming. He's just in the early stages of his senior campaigns. Bryce Lugo, Matthew Kolodzik, the star of Princeton Wrestling, Kolodzik, but Lugo, an All-American for Iowa at 49, earned the number 1 seed at the 2020 NCAA Championships. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
I think it's a great matchup, and I'm excited for Lugo to get back on the mat as he is, as you know, the wrestling world is. There's a lot of talk about Pat Lugo and last year, but last year is last year, and this year Lugo is moving forward. He's hungry, and he's got a worthy opponent that he's wrestled in the past, and they split a couple matches, and it's gonna be an awesome match come Sunday.
Do you guys have like an honorary trophy for the NCAA title from the, you know, this is, some people were saying this could have been a finals match last year. Is there like an honorary trophy like first place?
No, you got to earn those. There's no honoraries or replacements or anything like that. There's only one, and that's why that event is so special.
And you're going to be able to watch it live on Track Wrestling. How many people will be allowed in the arena?
So we'll keep it at 40% capacity at the Extreme Arena with social distancing, and obviously there will be masks, mandate to wear a mask to enter the building.
Okay.
And we're really excited about that.
If only there was one other matchup that we could throw in here. If there was only one other matchup. I can't think of one. I can't either. Bobby, can you think of one other matchup that might be worth the price of admission?
Oh, I'm sure you guys are missing the one that's going to kick this off, and that's Spencer Lee versus Zach Sanders.
There it is. Yeah, okay.
So Lee will be back on the mat, leading the charge as he always does, starting this main card off against Zach Sanders, Minnesota, 4-time All-American from Minnesota. He's actually on the coaching staff helping out their program as well now too. So it's going to be awesome. You know, the fans want to see guys wrestle. These guys want to wrestle, and it's going to happen on Sunday.
I don't want to let any cats out of the bags or whatever that. I don't want to reveal anything before the big show, the big production, but will we hear the Pokemon theme song for Spencer Lee?
The arena is going to be rocking. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and you're just going to have to tune in to see.
All right.
All right, so you, Eustace, the Brands boys, I mean, this. How's Morningstar doing, by the way?
Morningstar's awesome. He's awesome. He's in the arena full time, working out, and he's awesome. He's got great energy.
Good.
He's a man of faith. He kept his faith, and he's rolling. He's awesome.
And Bobby, you got to pass this on to him. I have faith that one day he will deliver unto me, the hog that I ordered from Morningstar Farms. I'm just waiting because I bought a freezer for it. I'm ready. I just need the hog. That's all.
That's some high quality pork coming out of there.
Yes, sir. All right, Bobby, it's always good to talk to you, brother. I'm super pumped for this event, perhaps more so this event than any other event that's preceded it. I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys are putting on the mat as well, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Sunday, 6 p.m., the main card. Look for the advanced card or the undercard, as it were, and that'll be live on Track Wrestling at no charge. The main event, of course, is going to cost you a little bit, but that will benefit the Hawkeye Wrestling Club, Barb Reynolds and Company, Novak. I mean, we've got some great people on that board. They've all been on the show, and we love those guys. Hey, listen, thanks to you and thanks to everybody else. We do appreciate it so very much, Bobby.
You're awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, God bless. Call us anytime. All right, next week we'll be looking for Defense Soap Newsmaker Hotline guests, including head coach of the Cyclones, Kevin Dresser. Midlands director Timmy Sezesky is going to talk a little bit about the passing of the great Ken Kraft. Arizona State NCAA champ and MMA star Bubba Jenkins, authors of Wrestling the Alphabet, Pat and Amanda Hogan, Binghamton assistant coach Stephen Middich, and many more. USA Takedown is spread and brought to you in part by our friends at Wild Rose Casino and Resort, by Trent Weatherman, your Northwestern Mutual financial consultant, by Defense Soap, by Mullet's Restaurant, by Barbarian Apparel, and by PBS Landscaping, by Paul Sazinski and Jimmy Sinclair, by Gonzalez Mediterranean Restaurant. They got a new sandwich there you got to try. It's over by Drake on 25th. By Don Boyd and his buddies, his 5 Talents Wealth Management team. By Advantage Physical Therapy, by Mark Cody and his Presbyterian College Blue Hose Wrestling Program, and by Hassle-Free Marketing. They can put together a website for you with clothing and gear with your logo on it, all for free. Hassle-Free Marketing. Our show producer, as always, Danny Bishop. You've been listening to Casbrin Bogle, USA Takedown, usatakedown.com, and 1350 ESPN.